Hey guys, it's been a long time, huh? I'm back here for a little bit. Still fighting some health issues. Gonna have to go through another dang surgery, so that's probably gonna be a while. I'm gonna have to save money for a while to get this done once and for all the correct way. I'm gonna have to have invasive surgery. But we ain't gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk Banshee today. I miss doing these videos for you guys. Weather's cooling down a little bit. I'm able to come outside and feel a little bit, you know, better working on my bikes and stuff like that. This here is a bike that I put together you guys don't know about. It's one that I picked up for 800 bucks somewhere up around Houston, and it was in really bad shape, and I just threw an engine together for it. And then that there is my 4 mil. It's a twin. They're pretty much the exact same bike, same bars, all the adjustments are the same on them, so they feel the same when I get on them. My 4 mil's got pro circuits on it right now. I had shears on it, but when I needed the money for my first operation, I sold those to my buddy Chris Reese up in Washington. I believe he's in Washington. I always get confused as to where he's at. And these are T5s that I purchased from another guy. I think I paid 150 bucks for them. They're in really good shape. They need to be polished up, and now as the cool weather's setting in, I'm going to take the time to pull them off and polish them, because I don't do polishing in my shop when it's 120 degrees, that's for sure. But we're going to talk about jetting today. It's getting to be a little bit cooler time of the year. I don't know, I mean, I'm down in South Texas and it's already cooling down a lot. It's in the maybe mid 70s right now, as opposed to we wake up and we're already in the low 90s. So I know a lot of you guys up north are seeing cooler air already, and some of you guys might be wondering, what's going on with my bike? It's not idling the same, or my idle's hanging, or it just idles different. Well, for those of you that don't know, and again, most of my videos are for guys that are, you know, pretty much beginners. So you guys that work on Banshees all the time, you already know where I'm going. So the deal is, with colder air, you get a more dense charge, you know, in your engine. So with each intake charge, you're getting essentially more air into the engine. With more air, you need more fuel. So this time of the year, depending on how you've jetted during the summertime, if you jetted a little on the fat side of the spectrum on your mains, more than likely your mains are going to be fine. But if you say you had 25 pilots and you were already on the borderline of being lean, like say you had 25 pilots and your air screws were at half a turn, well, you're going to have to go up to 27.5s for sure. I'm going to show you what to look for, so you can kind of compare with what your bike's doing. I'm not sure if this bike's going to run like I'm thinking, because I have it tuned pretty well, but I will simulate it. I will make it rich on the idle circuit so you can see what to look for and how to fix it. This video might be in two parts. My battery charger for my camera is in my other truck. My wife's got it at the moment. She'll be home on lunch break in a couple of hours, so I may continue it later. So the lighting may be different, or the situation with the bike may be placed differently, but it will be shot the same day, and I'm going to get this done for you guys. Update on the blue Banshee, the one I tore down like forever ago. It is still at powder coat. The guy went on vacation. The owner of the bike is a directional driller, and if I've said this before, I'm sorry, because I have so many questions about it. You know, where is it at? And I always tell them, well, the guy's a directional driller. He works for, I forgot what company, but what he told me is whenever he goes out for a hole, he does not go home until it's complete. So sometimes he's away from home for 3 months at a time. But that build is coming, and it is going to be what I call as the episodes. I'm going to do episodes. I'm going to do the engine assembly, and then I'm going to do putting the engine in the frame, and we're going to put it together the same way we took it apart, step by step, every single bolt, one at a time. So you guys out there that tore one down and are having issues putting it together, well, you can just follow along and throw your bike together. So let's go ahead and get started on this. I'm going to start it up real quick and see how it sounds. This will be a pretty much cold start. I mean, I haven't started it this morning at all. I'm going to start it the way I usually do. I'm going to try it without a choke and see what it does. Yeah, she needs a lube job. She's been washed a few times. She got hauled through the hurricane and 50, 60 mile an hour winds, so she got blasted with water. I need to take the time to pull it down and grease everything real good. Let's see what it does. It's idling a little bit high. It warms up, it's going to idle down. Let's see if the idle hangs on. Okay, so this really isn't that extreme. I wouldn't worry about it a bit, but I'm going to go ahead and simulate what it would be like on the more extreme side if you were a whole lot more lean on your pilot jet. So let me grab a screwdriver real quick and we'll get this done. Give me just a sec, guys. Okay, I leaned out the air screw some. Let's see what this does. Okay, now you see there I started up and it's got a really fast idle to it, and then when you rev it, the idle hangs. Hanging idle is when it doesn't want to return back to idle. And I'll show you one more time. Okay, so this is the case with your bike. You crank it up and it was fine the day before, and then you get cool weather coming in, or the weather's been gradually getting cooler, and now you're having this issue with it. You're like, what the heck? It was fine last week. Okay, I'm going to show you guys what to do. Hopefully it's a simple fix, just as simple as adjusting the air screws. My air screws, I can tell you now, well, I'll explain that when I get to it. Now, let me go ahead and get this started back up, and I'm going to make the adjustment on camera so you can see exactly what you need to do. When I say air screws, walk around this side. For you guys that don't know, you got two screws if you got towards the lead. This large screw right here is your idle screw. You're not going to touch that. Yes, it's idling fast, but do not touch that. There's nothing wrong with those screws. These are your air screws. This is what determines how much air passes through the air jet on the carb. On your other carb, excuse my lighting, it's right here. Same location. Your idle screw's on the outside. You're not going to mess with that one. You're going to mess with this screw and this screw here. Okay, let me get it fired up. And you will definitely see the problem get fixed here in just a second. Alright, so we got a fast idle. What we're going to do, okay, now I ran them in, and now they're at half a turn from open, which is pretty much borderline. It's going to need bigger pilot jets. So all I've done there is I had them screwed way out just to simulate the problem, because, you know, of course, this one wasn't doing it real bad. So let me start it back up, and then I'm going to show you guys how you know when it's time to go to a bigger pilot. So now when we start it, it should crank, have a decent idle to it. The idle should return, you know, pretty well. So let's see what happens. Okay, we got a good idle. Idle came right back down. Still a little bit on the lean side. The thing is, I'm almost out of adjustment here. And you can hear it so see, my air screws are all the way shut right now. And what that means is I need to go up a pilot size. I'm okay for now because my bike actually does fine right here at half a turn for the moment. So I'm going to put mine back exactly where it was. And that's half a turn open right there. And we'll fire it back up. Because it was a little rich with them all the way shut. And when it gets hot, it's going to get a little richer. See how I cranked it up and it immediately went right to its normal idle speed. It didn't have to clear out, it didn't have to adjust, it didn't have to idle down, nothing like that. Also, when you rev it here, look for any kind of a bog. If you've got any kind of a bog off idle, what it's going to be is you're going to be also too lean on your air screws, but this is good to go. Okay, let me get this back on a tripod and talk to you guys for a second. Okay, so my air screws, it's fine, it's happy at half a turn open, but that's borderline. I don't have any more adjustment after that. So right now, I believe the temperature's here. Let me see what it actually is right now here. Give me a second. All right, yeah, so temperatures here are 74 degrees right now. Okay, so another month, I get down into the 60s in the morning. I'm gonna run out of adjustment. I'm gonna have to close those air screws up all the way, and that still might get it. But then in the dead of winter, when we get 30-degree days, maybe we get a little cooler than that. The idle's gonna hang like crazy, and it's just not gonna run worth the crap. It's gonna bog and all that. So at this point, I'm gonna leave it alone. But if you guys are at this point already, or you're out of adjustment, your air screws are all the way in, it's gonna be time to go up to the next pilot size. A lot of times I try putting in a big enough pilot during the summer that I don't have to make any adjustments. Some bikes take it, some bikes won't. Some have to have the correct pilot in it. I've got bikes that run just as fine with a 27.5 as they do with a 30. Some run good with a 27.5, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to put a 30 in it. That way I'll be good for the winter, and I'll just compensate by opening the air screws. But that doesn't work. It runs too rich. So this bike here, I know it's got 27.5s. I was into it yesterday. In another month, I'll be going up to 30s. I have videos on YouTube. My first video actually was how to change pilot jets. If you've never done it before, search how to change pilot jets in a Yamaha Banshee, or a Yamaha Banshee pilot jet change. It'll be my first video, and the cover photo or whatever, the thumbnail is not going to have the yellow writing and all that. It's just going to be a picture of a blue Banshee, and I do the pilot change on a bike with the airbox on, and I don't even pull the carbs off. I just show you guys how to remove the slides, loosen the carbs, twist the carbs, pull the bows off, change pilots, and go back about your business. Let me get my camera moved, and I'm going to actually show you guys that don't know what the pilot is, where it's located, and what there is involved in changing it. Give me a sec. The battery is almost dead. Alright, so here's the stock Makuni carb, and I have the screws out of the bowl already because they were all stripped out and crap. But I'm just going to show you guys real fast what the pilot is and how to change it. So you pull your bowl off, and this is missing some parts. It's missing the emulsion tube for the main jet holder and all that crap. It's missing the splash guard. It's just the junker I had laying on the bench. But if you can turn the carb to the small snout towards you, the part that goes into the engine, or just remember the small hole here. This is where your pilot is located. Then you just take a small flathead, you reach down in there, loosen it up, and you dump it right out in your hand, and this is your pilot. Now let me show you guys something here. Something you got to be really careful with. Let me find one. Okay, I missed the jets in the first shot, so I'm redoing a little segment here. I wanted to tell you guys about the pilot and air jets when you go to change your jets. A lot of guys have made mistakes, and I've made mistakes. It happens. when you get a Shindy jet kit or Moose or whatever kind of jet kit you get, you're almost always going to get 4 of these little deals, which is your pilot jet here and your air jet here. There's a difference. Your air jet goes right here. It screws in right here in this large hole. Your pilot jet, we went over already, I think. I'm not sure what part of the video I'm on. Goes in here. Okay, these jets have a completely different size diameter hole orifice, and I'm going to show you. Excuse my fingernails, I've been working this morning. So see on the right how big that hole is? That's the air jet. The left one is a pilot jet. The left jet goes here where your pilot goes. The air jet, the one with a large diameter hole, goes in here. So don't get those mixed up because they will fit either way. But if you were to take this one here with a big hole, the big air jet, stick it in here where your pilot goes, it'll screw right in, and you'll never know anything's wrong until you fire it up and it runs just as rich as heck. It may not even idle on you. See how big that hole is? It's huge. So you guys be sure that you don't get those crossed up, because you can even get one correct and one wrong, and that left pipe, right pipe, whatever cylinder this air jet is in is literally going to blow fuel out the pipe, and it's going to pull in the pipe and everything else. Your pilots will always be stamped something like 25, 27.5, 30, 32.5, 35 and up. Your air jets, which is going to be this one here, from Yamaha, they're a 1.6. If you get like a Shindy kit, they're going to say 160, which is the same thing. So that's just something to keep an eye out for. Be sure you don't mix these up. The longer jet, I'm missing the shot again. The longer jet here is going to be your pilot. Like I said, it'll be the one with 25, 27.5, etc. Don't put this one in where the pilot jet goes, because it's not going to run. It's going to flood out real bad on you. Other than that, like I said, if you need to know exactly how to pull the carbs off the bike or how to do it on the bike, search that video. It's called Yamaha Banshee Pilot Jet Change. That may not be the exact name of it, but that will bring it up. And you'll find it, and I'll explain how to do that. In the event you have to change your main jets out, that may be a separate video. Let me try to get this done before the camera goes dead. Okay, I got one here. In the event you have to change out your main jet, your main jet is a large brass jet in the center, right there in that splash shield. And what you'll do with that is this just pulls right off. The jet is a 6mm, and they're not usually tight. Just take and crack it loose. And don't lose your brass seat. Make sure that stays in there, or you put it back in. But here's your main jet, and that's all there is to a main jet. So if you have to change your main, it's a little harder to detect if your main is going to be a little bit lean. I can tell you guys right away, in the cooler weather, even in the summer, if you ride your bike at night as opposed to during the day, you're going to notice it runs so much better at night for some reason. Like, it runs, stronger. And that's because, well, no, this tube fell out. But anyway, it's a little harder to detect your main being lean. If you're going from a really extreme, one extreme to the other, like say you run here where I'm at, we see 107, 108 degree days in the summertime, and then come wintertime we can get down every once in a while into the teens, usually where you can stay around the 30s in the wintertime. In that case, you would definitely want to change your main jets, because 20-30 degrees difference is enough to compensate for going up one jet size. Say for instance you're running 70 degree weather and you're running a 290 main, and then your temperatures go up to say 95 or 100, then you could put in a 300, But anyway, how to tell if you need a bigger main? Plug chop it. That's the only way. You may notice a power drop off. If you notice your bike dropping off in power, then you're really lean on your main jet, because most times when you're a little lean, your bike's going to run better, but it's not always safe. So as far as mains, I would recommend go ahead and get your pilot dialed in, get it back idling like it should, starting like it should. Make sure your idle doesn't hang. get your idle set, and then go ahead and take it out, and I mean, just do a plug chop on it, and be sure you still got somewhat of a ring on your plug. If your ring is really faint, but you still have something on there, just bump it up one jet, you'll be good to go. If your ring is still, has a good color to it, well, you're good to go. You ain't got to mess with it. And it's hard to tell people what to jet, how to jet. So many people ask me, hey, I have this done, and I need to know what jets. Well, I can't tell you what jets to put in it, even though this bike sitting here has the same mods yours does, T5s, stock head, pod filters, 93 octane fuel. I have no idea what your bike's going to take, because every bike is different. Every one. You can build two bikes side by side and jet them, and one's going to take a different jetting. I've seen it too many times here in my own shop, and with people that I've tried to help. They're like, hey dude, you said this and it ended up taking this, which they may be plug chopping differently. Hang on a second. Sorry about that phone call. I was gonna say, a lot of guys, you have to plug chop the same way every time. If you go out and you do a plug chop and you only pull 6 seconds in high gear, and the next time you pull 12 seconds, and the next time you pull 4, every chop's gonna be different, and so you have to be consistent with your plug chops. So, I mean, I really can't tell you what jet is gonna be perfect. Nobody can. Nobody out there can. We can put you in the ballpark. I can tell you, okay, you got pods, T5s, your elevations around, sea level, 100-degree temps. I would say put in a set of 27.5, set your air screw 1.5 turns, needle in the third clip, and a 300, 310 main should be close. And it may be right on, it may not be. I've had bikes here take up to a 340. I've had bikes take all the way down to a 290. It just depends on the bike and the signal on the carburetor, how healthy the top end is, and stuff like that. So whenever you guys ask me for jetting, whatever I tell you guys, it's never going to be, written in stone. It's going to be a ballpark. So if I tell you guys throw in a 300 with a 27.5, that's a starting point. That means put that in, see how it runs, go out, plug chop it, and the whole ball of wax from there. So hopefully this answers some questions. If any of you guys are starting to have trouble with your bikes running kind of funky, hanging idle too fast, that's what's happening. We're at the time of the year now where it's time to make some jetting adjustments. So if you guys have any questions, hit me up at the bottom or whatever. I'm kind of slow to respond to some stuff right now. Like I said, I have a lot of stuff going on, but I'm going to try to keep these videos coming, and as other stuff comes up that kind of refers to seasonal changes, I'm going to definitely post that up here. You guys have a good day. God bless. Happy riding, and stay safe. And there's also one more thing I wanted to tell you guys about the Banshee. The Banshee, I mean, anything carbureted is not really a set it and forget it bike, machine. You're gonna have to make tweaks. You're gonna have to make adjustments. I mean, I come out here all the time, and I'm not saying my crap always has to be adjusted, but I mean, I'll come out and you're never gonna set your air screws and just forget about them. I mean, you may set them 1 week, and then a week later you might have to give them a little tweak. One morning you might have to give them a little tweak. But be careful about tweaking on them when the engine's cold, because it's going to run like a completely different animal when it's warm. So usually you want to get your engine about operating temp, ride it about how you're going to ride it all the time, and then set your air screws. Let it cool down overnight, or let it cool down really well, because if it's lukewarm, it's still going to make a difference. Let it cool down all the way. I recommend overnight. The next morning, start it up. And if you need to make any adjustments, try to make very small adjustments, because any adjustment you make then is definitely going to affect it when it's hot. For instance, this bike here, this 4 the night before last, me and a buddy at Yorktown, Texas here, yeah, my bike's ugly. Well, my pipes are ugly. I need to polish them. I'll do that when it cools down. But we went out riding, and for the first hour or so, we were just cruising around. We were just cruising, 50, 55, 45 miles an hour, just enjoying ourselves out on the county road. No hard ride or nothing like that. And whenever we, pull over to stop and talk, freaking whatever, I would let it idle, and it still had this really nice, poppity pop, really crisp, pingy idle to it, just the way I like, Well then, after that, the next hour or so, we would just, we went out, it got late, and we were just ripping on them. I mean, we were running. This one, the way it's geared now, it tops out at about 73, and I probably kept it at 70 for a long time. I mean, we were just running the crap out of the bikes, right? Well, what happens is they get really hot. Of course, they're going to heat up with more extreme riding. So whenever we went to pull over and stop to talk for a little bit or whatever, when I pulled the clutch in, the headlights got really dim, like it was going to die. And I'm like, and a lot of guys think, oh crap, what's going on? I think I heard it. It doesn't want to idle right. Well, what happens is the engine is so hot, the air mixture totally changes, because now your cylinders are so hot, everything's heated up. As your air is coming into your engine, the air molecules expand when they get hot. The hotter air gets, the more it expands. Same way a hot air balloon works. The molecules get further apart. So when that happens, your air mixture doesn't change. It doesn't change automatically because it's not fuel injected. So whatever you had your air screw set at before, is what they're set at now. So if you got your engine super hot after some hard running, say you're racing a bunch of buddies and you're just out cutting up and you don't even care, you're just, you're running it hard. Well, then you pull over to stop and it's wanting to barely idle. It's like, real boggy, and you almost got to rev it every now and then to keep it running. What it is because it's running rich on your idle circuit, because now the engine's so freaking hot, it's still dumping the fuel to it through the idle circuit, and it's just running rich. So a lot of times you really need to jet your bike to how you're going to run it. If you're going to run it around, just cruising, play riding and all that, that's when you want to set your air mixture. If I'm going to run my bike like that all the time, run it really hard, wide open throttle for long periods of time, I'm going to need to pull over right away, have a screwdriver with me, which I usually carry one in my pocket just because. Pull over, and whenever you get that real lopey, sluggish idle, that's when you're going to want to lean it out and get your idle right. Now keep in mind, whenever it's cold, you're going to have kind of a fast idle, and the idle may hang just a little bit. I've never found a happy medium, because there's so many different ways you ride your bike, but I wanted to explain that to you guys. Like this one here, when I left that night, I loaded up and I was like, man, idle's a little fast, man. Idle's hanging a little bit because it was cold. So I richened it up by one whole turn. Well, prior to that, I rode it around my yard and all that and never had any issues with it. But then after I got out there and made those real hard pulls and everything, it was too rich. I had to back the air screws back out to where they were. So just keep that in mind. Whenever you ride your bike real hard like that, it's gonna make definitely gonna make a difference on how it idles after it's nice and hot, like super hot, not overheating hot, just as hot as it's gonna get in the safe range.